It is so fabulous to be with all of you here today. Just delighted to join you for NIC. You know, I grew up in a healthcare family. In fact, this is my dad, Murray S. Marsh. He dedicated his career to building and leading a community-oriented and a people-centric hospital system. He also served as president of the board of the Healthcare Association of New York State and president of the board of a senior living community working to offer housing options across the lifespan. And my mom and dad lived there as well. But like so many in his generation, my dad left work, he retired too early, and he also stubbornly resisted treatment for his hearing loss. And then he became the primary caregiver for my mom, who suffered from dementia. So as you can imagine, I saw this vibrant, passionate, purpose-driven man lose connection with his social network and lose connection with his purpose. My dad still had his family, but in many regards, he was alone. And the fact is, he wasn't alone in being alone. So many people see their world move from huge and broad to the size of a pinpoint. There's a problem, a growing problem, facing older adults today, regardless of their background, their gender, or their economic circumstances. And this problem, this public health concern, is going to grow worse in the years and the decades ahead. The problem is the increase of loneliness and social isolation. You know, that house that you cherish can sometimes become a prison. Never far from my mind is the voice of a 77-year-old widow who told us, "Ever since my husband died, I just sit by my window and wait for the mail to come. It's like I'm invisible, and if I'm invisible, then I'm not a bother." Loneliness and isolation are related, but there are important differences. Loneliness is something you and I feel. It's subjective. Social isolation is related to more objective criteria, such as the size of your social network. So social isolation is where AARP Foundation focuses our efforts. In this space, we can provide more direct impact and develop solutions that ultimately will also address loneliness. And we rely on tools such as the Duke Social Support Index. They help us gauge the risk of isolation or the degree of isolation for individuals. But more or most importantly, they help us judge the effectiveness or the ineffectiveness of innovations and interventions that we deploy. Among older adults who are low income or those from marginalized population groups, they experience the greatest risk for social isolation. But still today, a staggering 1 in 5 older adults is suffering from social isolation. And isolation, colleagues, is pernicious. It increases the risk of heart disease, of infections, of depression, of early cognitive decline, and in fact, of early death. And studies have shown that prolonged social isolation among older adults is the health equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. All of us here understand how to treat medical conditions. In fact, it's not an exaggeration to suggest that at some time in our lifetime there may be cures for some cancers. We know how to treat chronic disease, heart disease, for example. And in fact, we lean into medical solutions and the medical model to make life better for older adults. And this is precisely where we must have a mindset shift. If we only use the medical model to view life for older adults, we will constantly see seniors as a problem to be solved rather than as assets to bolster community. And as we witness the new form of aging and living that boomers with our burgeoning numbers are bringing to us, It's critically important that we imagine a new element in all models of care, and that element is connection. Just as we focus on preventive medicine, I challenge us to focus on preventive connection. Connection is the catalyst to re-energize purpose-driven lives. We could start by asking healthcare professionals to include screenings for social isolation in routine exams, just as they screen for hypertension or for diabetes. But we must and we can go further. We need profound transformation centered on true connection in all of our models of living and of caring. And I tell you, we might prevent the onset of chronic disease, we will save a lot of lives, and we'll save a lot of money. A recent AARP study found that social isolation increases Medicare spending by nearly $7 billion annually. This is what we at AARP Foundation think connection looks like. It's older adults volunteering rather than being volunteered on. We have an evidence-based program called Experience Corps, where older adults become literacy tutors for young students in underserved schools and communities, and it's a triple win. It's great for the communities, it's great for the students, and it's amazing for the volunteers who are physically and emotionally healthier. In fact, a study has found that for participants volunteering in this program, it may actually reduce the loss of brain volume in areas of the brain associated with the onset of dementia. And time again, I hear from these volunteers how the program brought purpose back into their lives. And look at these results. Volunteering weekly increases your chance, my chance, our chance of happiness by 16%, another triple bottom line. Volunteers are healthier, volunteers are happier, volunteers are our helpers working to solve deeply entrenched social problems. I would encourage volunteering. I would reimagine the role of volunteer coordinator or activities director in the range of senior living communities. Their job is to focus on connecting residents with truly engaging opportunities. I want you to think of this role as your purpose matchmaker. And the role of your purpose matchmaker is to truly know and understand your residents, to listen to them with genuine curiosity, and then work to connect them with engagements and opportunities that help them continue to live a purpose-driven life. You know, when we think of connection, we naturally think about technology. And of course, it's true that technology is and will remain critically important to solve social isolation. In fact, we cannot scale or replicate effective innovations without technology. We're so familiar with the increase in devices and sensors that keep seniors safe and connected wherever they live. But I offer a word of caution. Let's not continue our love affair with technology for technology's sake. I get the temptation. I've fallen for the magic of an algorithm-driven life. But it is important that we fall in love or fall in love again with the messier part of connection, the human part of connection. You know, Herbert Simon, a Nobel Prize winner and a pioneer in AI, reminded us, what do people want? We want warm relations with other people. So technology as part of that system must be evaluated by its ability to help or hinder us in pursuing those goals, and not by the flashing lights that it enables us to pursue. You get this. It's in your DNA, in your roots. Senior living was built and designed on connection. You were meeting in your history a market demand, a lifestyle choice for seniors to live in meaningful companionship. You face a new challenge. Engagement must not come in a one-size-fits-all proposition. I guarantee you, there are older adults living in senior living communities, the whole variety across this nation. And even though they have access to outings and to a full range and variety of engineered communal activities, they're living lonelier, more socially isolated lives. They want to be connected to their purpose again. There's a triple cost if you don't meet the challenge and address the growing public health concern of social isolation. It's expensive, it's deadly, and it's wasteful. So I challenge you, with your deep expertise and your broad experience, how are you going to design experiences that keep a growing number of boomers, the most culturally and economically diverse of seniors that we have experienced to date? How will you keep them connected to their sense of purpose in life? If you meet this goal, you'll have healthier residents who live more independently. They'll be happier as well. And I guarantee they'll be great ambassadors for your communities to the wider community. And I predict your costs will go down. If I was going to invest in the future of senior care, and I assure you that my organization is investing in senior care, I'd put my money on the resource that older adults represent. I would work hard to evolve the mature model, even though that is challenging. It'll pay off in the end, and it can work at any price point. The key to all of it is connection, and connection begins with listening, with intention to engage people. You know, the hallmark of human-centered design is listening first and foremost to the needs of the customer. We have to stop thinking just about aging in place. It's imperative that we instead focus on living in place productively, creatively, usefully. We all want to remain who we were, who we are, who we might be. We all want to be us and not them. So as I think back on my dad's journey, I realize that I'm in fact on that same path. I'm working to improve health outcomes. I'm living a purpose-driven life. And connections are so important to all that I am and all that I do. What am I going to want some years down the road? I'm going to look for a purpose-driven community that's fueled by connection. That's what I'll yearn for, and there are tens of millions with me. Your success will be rooted in meeting the needs of a growing generation of older adults, of seniors who demand to live out their purpose and will gravitate to communities that are filled with connection-fueled engagement. You know, villages, towns, and cities across this nation are already focused on getting this right. They're working together on livability, on developing age-inclusive, truly ageless communities that are good for all. But you are uniquely positioned. You are well positioned to get this right, and I want you to know that we want to be with you to make it happen. Connect with me. That's my purpose in being with you today. This is your opportunity, and I urge you to seize it. Connection is your purpose. Thank you.